Welcome, welcome. Keeping it orange and blue. Sunday night slow jams. What's up, Kevin Ducey?
Yeah, I needed something more than slow jams. I'm tired, bro.
Oh man, I should have put some Quiet Riot on. Didn't have any in the playlist, but
Come on, feel it now.
Yeah, didn't have any of that. What's up, Nathan Durst from Asheville, North Carolina tonight? We are keeping it orange and blue. Okay, that's what we do here.
Hopefully it's hitting the links, man. North Carolina's got some great golf courses.
So, if you guys haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at 200 Columns, keeping it orange and blue. We appreciate you on there. We're building that baby up. Football season's here, ladies and gentlemen. It's my favorite time of the year, like I told you, Kev, because you got hoops. Hoops is getting close, but it's like college football's back. Getting closer to fall. I just love it. It's high school football's coming. It's just my favorite time of the year, man.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, still a little bit of summer left, so that's awesome. And so, hey, man, that just Forrest Gump's in the house, Bacon's in the house, Tommy Elon.
Why, Kevin, you look so orange, man?
And bro, I'm tan, bro. It's. I was at the pool today. I was doing yard work today. I was working outside. Hey, so here we go. What up, Sean Garland, as always? Hey,
Cubbies traded Morrell today. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a little bit sad about that, but man, they picked up a heck of a player in Paredes from Tampa Bay. Heads up here, I always believe in helping my friends and helping their business. So, dude, our guy Nate Durst, mortgage loan officer, licensed in the state of Illinois. If anybody is going to temper this housing market and look at moving, I would highly encourage you to get a hold of Nathan. You can find him on Twitter, or you can find him on here. If you need to reach out to me, I got his personal information. I'll gladly connect you. But if you're in the great state of Illinois and you are looking to move and you want a mortgage loan officer that's going to take care of your needs, Nathan is the man. So just a little plug for our guy there. So.
All right, Nate. Maybe a sponsorship in the works.
I'm throwing free ads out right now, but we might change that down the road. So.
Yeah. Is that? Keep those. Yeah, whatever you drink, put it in front of the camera a lot. Maybe we'll get them to sponsor.
Dude, these things are gangster. I love these things.
Modelo, what?
Chelada.
Oh, Chelada.
It's like a red beer. It's tomato juice, salt, lime, and a beer.
Hey, can't go wrong with a lime and a Coke. I like a lime and a Coke. Lime and a beer. Not tons happening, right, in the Illini sphere, but with keeping it orange and blue, that doesn't stop us. I mean, we're going to talk. We might even do 20 minutes of chatting with y'all, whoever wants to chat. But we'll hit what's been going on. And of course, Kev, I don't know how much of Big Ten Media Days you got to check in on throughout the week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Illinois and Brett Bielema kicked off the Big Ten Media Day like he has. He seemed to be kicking it off every time they got Brett Bielema going. So I don't know if that's alphabetical. I guess that's what they want to do, But anyway, new Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti there with Bielema starting to show off. I was interested in a couple of ways just to hear his mindset, how he was going to, be maybe a little different than he was last year, because usually Brett's a good listen. He took up almost all 15 minutes he was allotted. Deshaun Foster took about 60 seconds of his 15 minutes basically, and maybe the worst first intro presser ever. But at the end of the day, like he said, he's there to coach football. He's not there to talk to people. So,
right.
Which is fine, whatever. But yeah, so some interesting tidbits from Brett Bielema, basically saying that he's expecting Pat Bryant to have a huge year, which, by the way, if you've been listening to the show, you've already been hearing that. And that he's been looking good. And I think the combination of Franklin and Bryant, is going to be dangerous. They love what they've got in their offensive line. It sounds like Priestley has a starting spot locked up. They've got that right side and then the left side with J.C. Davis.
Yeah.
Priestley, the Grambling transfer, has really showed off his power and strength, and basically he's like the Incredible Hulk. You're not going to move him. He's not super, super agile, athletic, but once he gets a hold of you, you ain't going anywhere. So they really like what Priestley offers there. They love the running back stable with Lawfrey and Fagan, Lawfrey, and McCray. And they defensively, they feel like, a lot more sound. Guys who had new roles last year, and then they're in their second year, of course, with Aaron Henry in his second year. Matthew Bailey is fully healthy, which Coach B is excited about. I think we're all excited about that because he's a stud. We didn't really get to see much of him last year, and he thinks he's having and expecting a big bounce back season from Gabe Jacobs.
Yeah, I do as well.
Yep. Anything you took away from what Brett was said or you heard?
Wait, I'm gonna use a quote or a saying that I talked about a lot on this show. I care so much more about what happens between the lines. I
wish we could talk about that right now, though.
I know. I literally have a disdain for press conferences and media days because I think it's a much ado about nothing. I really couldn't. I couldn't care less. I mean, what is a coach going to get up there and say? Well, Luke Altmaier and some off-season workouts was looking like dog shit, and Pat Bryant's running a 5.240 now. I mean, like, what are they going to say?
No, but I think he did say some things that nobody really would have known. Priestley's starting. He didn't have to say that.
Well, is he starting? I mean, Camp starts tomorrow.
From what I've heard behind the scenes, yeah. Also,
no, and I get that. It's just one of those things. Like I mean, I'm just a really poor person to ask what happened because, like, I try to watch it, man, and I like the ones with I like Brett and Brad in season, like the 4-minute ones, like the ones when they catch Brad at Ubben and they got a quick little 5-minute thing about what's happening, and he's got a little joke there. Both of those guys are really funny and great personalities. I love what Brett does when he talks about the incoming recruiting class. I think that's kind of cool because I want to hear the coach's personal take on what they see in a player. But I don't watch the media days and get anything that means something to me. I think I'm more impressed I want to hear more from a player's perspective. And I did like what I heard from the little bits that I heard from the guys. And I'm also very intrigued about who's going, right? Who's going to represent the team? Because frankly, and I don't think it's a slap in the face, I was a little shocked that Luke Altmaier wasn't there. But then come to find out, talking through circles, a lot of times the quarterbacks just don't go. There weren't a lot of quarterbacks from any of the Big Ten schools there. And I don't know that Illinois has sent a quarterback to Big Ten media days under the Bielema. So that was all right. I was really happy with the guys who did get honored and got the ability to go. You and I have spoke at length on this show of our fondness for Seth Coleman and kind of like feel like he continues to, I wouldn't say be overlooked, but maybe not get the accolades that he deserves. So it was nice for him to go. And I think Pat Bryant's a kid who's improved every year he's been at Illinois, and he's going to be looked at as to be, number 1 or number 2 receiver on this team and do some things and being in this system. I really think he can have a big year, and we all think that. I mean, you and I are I think are in agreement here that the offense is going to be better than the defense. If the defense can keep up with the offense and the offense has a good year, Illinois could have a really good year. So I do like Nate's Jason Ron said Brett was a little bit more subdued, and I think that's fair. I think Brett has been a little bit hyperbolic, a little bit overly enthusiastic, but then again, man, he had a team coming off an 8-win season a year ago, and with a lot of guys returning. Now, granted, he did lose a lot of guys, and I think we were thinking that the radar was pointing up going into last year, and we took it on the chin. I'm just really excited. Camp's going to start tomorrow. I wish college coaches, and it's not an Illinois problem, it's a college problem. We used to get so much more access 10 years ago, what was going on in these practices and video coverage and access to media.
It has to be so private in a lot of programs. And Brett is one of those coaches that just loves.
I think it's his NFL roots too. Yeah.
It's got to be hidden. Nobody can know. But as you guys know, I do my thing, and it's not really well liked by some people because how, God forbid, anybody know anything about the team. And it's like, and I don't really want to hear all the other teams will know and can game plan it. If they're going to win and beat Illinois and game plan because I'm saying, hey, Caden Fagan is looking like an all Big Ten, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that's going to hurt the team. I think everybody should know already he's a beast and it's coming. So I'm not going to get on the show and ever say, just want you guys to know, I found out Illinois is running a special package on 3rd down in the red zone. Okay, and these are the formations, and this is how it's going to work. No, I don't speak like that on here, okay? So nothing we talk about on here is going to hurt Illinois in a game. So you know what I do. I always come on here when I get info, and I'll tell you guys some stuff that I'm hearing. If there's an injury update or if there's, maybe someone surprising is looking really good, I'll make mention of that. But yeah, so one thing that Brett said to the Big Ten media crew that I was listening to is last year he thinks his guys just expected it to happen because it did the year before.
Right.
He's like, we should have won 9-10 games, blah, blah. We're going to do it again, And sadly, he said he didn't notice it in the guys until it was, like, hey, we're 2-2, and we got demolished by Penn State there in the final quarter, and
ran all over by Kansas.
Yeah, we didn't look ready to go against Kansas. Wait a second, what's going on here?
Well, I think one of the biggest things, and so Brewer talked about it, right? And on a show a couple weeks ago, like Johnny Newton is not a vocal guy. He lets his play doing the talking. So you had a defense that lost its vocal leader really in Sidney Brown. Like when Sidney was really like a team level captain.
Isaiah Williams, Nathan. I mean, has to be, even though Illinois has filled that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you even lost a guy like D'Angelo, who was so good by the end of the year. And obviously the whole secondary, and you got a rah-rah guy in Spoon who fires everybody up. And then on the other side of the ball, the offensive leader was Tommy DeVito on that team 2 years ago. And it's just really hard to replace all of that. And I was flat out wrong when I predicted 10-2, and I just didn't account for the level of losses of the players that we lost. And look, Tommy DeVito was starting NFL games in his rookie year. Now, granted, it was on a banged up bad Giants team, but three or four guys in our secondary are sitting there playing in the NFL. And it was that's just so much to make up for. And I think you were just relying on the fact that we had a lot of guys on both sides on the line that were coming back another year in Lunny's system. But I think we also flat out looked up and said we discounted how much losing Ryan Walters was going to cost us too. So last year there was a ton of turnover that I think really impacted the football team negatively. This year it's not as much. Yes, you do lose an absolute game wrecker in Keith Randolph, and you lost your best. And you lost your best offensive weapon in Isaiah Williams. Johnny's harder to replace, but I think there's so much more depth in the secondary. And I think another year with Aaron Henry, I think he's going to find his own chops. I think they made some changes in the coaching staff that are going to be for the good. So I'm a little bit more excited about what this team can do, but we'll see. So,
yeah, and one thing Deshaun Foster did say, Jake, that UCLA is in Los Angeles. It's true.
The University of California, Los Angeles is in LA.
Yeah, man. And since we were in the Big Ten, we wouldn't know that. And so I do thank them for letting us know. That was gracious, so gracious of him. I was gonna guess and just say it was somewhere in California. So while Kevin, you were on the money with all that, I think too. The injuries to Xavier Scott. Remember that the injury to Kalina Odeluga in the Iowa game hurt really bad. Matthew Bailey was out, and let's not forget, Illinois had 4 of their top 5 running backs injured and missing time during last season.
Yeah.
Those are
a position we thought was going to be a strength, but then again, you're also replacing Chase Brown, which is like there was a lot of turnover on that team that I did not give enough credit for the turnover.
Yeah. So, and then you got to remember too, you're getting healthier and getting older, and you're adding Terrence Brooks and Matthew Bailey back to this team. So
yes,
you're adding Terrence Brooks, and don't sleep on Torrey Cox. I'm telling you guys. Don't sleep on Torrey Cox. He's a little pit bull. Okay.
He's only like 5'9", though, isn't he?
He's 5'9", but so what? So strain.
Yeah.
Brett did mention Mason Rugen is out for the season. Sadly, he got injured.
Mason Morgan, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be a guy in the next few years that you guys should get used to hearing. Alex Bray, it sounds like, is going to play and be a good, nice piece for them. He's really impressed the team, the coaching staff. But I'm telling you, Coach Parker loves Torrey Cox. I'm telling you guys.
All right.
He's going to be playing. He might be in a nickel package. I'm not coming on here and ruining anything, but I'm just telling you, dude, having two guys, even if you got two guys that are 5'9.5" or whatever, but they're nasty, they're competitors. I think it'll depend on matchups too. If you're playing maybe, let's say they're playing a team that's got a bunch of guys 6'2", 6'3", you probably won't put Torrey and Strain out there together, okay? But there's going to be packages where it's smaller guys and mixtures, and so also one thing I've heard, I will say that Sanders, the little speedster they got, the JUCO kid, impressed on people already too. I think he's going to have some packages and be used quite a bit, which is nice, and he's going to kind of fill the Isaiah Williams role a little bit. Wiltshire will come in and do his little part and do some end arounds with those guys, do some little slip screens. I'm just telling you, man, I'm excited for the offense this year. And as long as the defense can just be an average middle of the pack D, I think this team can have a successful season. That's all they need to be. That's all the D needs to be. It doesn't need to be great. It does, as long as it's not awful, as long as it's average and it can carry its weight a little bit. And I think this offense can do enough to get to where we would like to be this season. So tight end this year. So you've got a healthy. You got Cole Rusk, who'll be a tight end / wide out. You've got Tanner Arkin, the transfer from Colorado State, who is a nice piece. And then Henry Boyer, who's going to be a nice blocking back who can also catch passes. And
I love Boyer from a blocking standpoint. I mean, he's so physical at the point of attack. I mean, and Bielema loves him too. I mean, he's got like a defensive tackle's mindset. So,
and then Carson Goda, whatever. Yeah, they'd added another one. I think he was like a D2 school or something like that, D3. I don't know, but he was really good, and the staff liked him and picked him up. So, again, there's just names that are going to pop up out of here, and looks like Bill said Barn already passed. Masson anyhow. Okay. So yeah, again, and we'll get to it each week. We'll talk a little bit more about what we kind of hear out of camp. And I'm thinking next Sunday, we'll probably make our season predictions, or I might wait one more week. I think I might wait 2 weeks, because then we're 2 weeks out from the opening game of the year, and then we'll go into it like that. So, but yeah. We'll try to.
I'd like to get through camp, because I mean, obviously it's football and you never know. Like, I mean, I kind of I don't believe you should draft your fantasy football team until the preseason's over, because Lord knows you don't want to draft your first round draft pick and lose them in preseason to torn ACL. But I mean, I'd kind of like to see what happens there. So
yeah, we got 4 weeks more. We got 4 more shows until that next Thursday they play Eastern. But between the 2 and 4th week, we'll make our predictions. We got a Brian Ducey alert, Kev, in here.
Yes, sir.
Two Duceys, one podcast. That's I don't know about you, Kev. At least your family watches. I think I will shout out to my mom, my 74-year-old mother. She doesn't watch live because it's past her bedtime. But when I did go to her house and see her, like I do every week, we have a Thursday dinner where I bring her grandchildren to see her. She was so proud to show me her home screen. And I was like, "What's your home screen, Mom?" And she's like, "Keeping it orange and blue." Bam. And I was just like, "Oh." I was like, she doesn't watch on YouTube. She just listens. She listens on Spotify, I think is what it is. So she's got the Spotify homepage, and she clicks that and listens. And then I said, "Hey, Mom, go to YouTube real quick." I said, "Hey, you can watch the show too." And she's like, "Oh, all right." So, yeah, Brian, we appreciate you tuning in, man. Thanks for letting us borrow your brother. Now, we will get back into a little bit of football towards the end. but I know a big talking point in the last few days is because Kasparas Jakucionis is playing over there in Finland in a tournament, and the team Lithuania is 0-2. Obviously, he's been really good, but he's also had his moments to where people are like almost shocked, like because sometimes he does a little too much and he can be a little turnover prone. But I also want people to take this into consideration too. He's the best player in that tournament. He's the best player on that team, and he is trying to do too much because defensively he needs to work on some stuff. But his teammates can't stop a leak, a runny nose, whatever. So he's trying to make up for that because Slovenia put up 100 on him. Like they couldn't stop Slovenia, so he's trying to do everything he can. I think he finished with like 24 points, like 6 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 6 turnovers or something like that. And then the highlight reel, if you just watch, man, his hesitation move to the rim is nasty. His crossover is just sick. He handles. He's got great vision, and he's showing you he can score at all 3 levels, man. He's hitting contested threes. He's hitting tough fadeaway pull ups. And then he can finish at the rim with both hands.
Yeah.
So I just want people to know this, Kevin. I'll let you finish it. He is going to be one of the best players on the team, if not the best. But he's still going to be 18 years old. He may be a leader on the team, but he's not going to be the leader on the team. He's going to have times where you need an old head to calm you down. Let's get this to go here. He's going to get to campus and realize his teammates at Illinois are not the same thing that he's got going on in Finland right now. So he's going to have an up and down, you guys. He might be one of the most talented freshmen they've ever had, but he's still 18 years old. So remember that.
Yeah, and I mean, like you're going to see I mean, the biggest knock on his performance in game 1 was his turnovers. He had 6 turnovers, cut him in half in game 2. But like you said, the talent and his ability just jumps off the page, and you're going to take the good with the bad there, and because the good's going to far outweigh the bad. Bill Moe said, "Hey, one of the things he saw is he's not hustling back after he makes a bad play." Dude, yeah, I don't doubt that, but I'll tell you this right now. It doesn't fly in the Brad Underwood house, so there, they'll.
Oh, hey,
you're on YouTube now.
Yeah,
My kids love watching YouTube. I don't quite get it. I don't get the attraction for like just watching these strange videos. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love watching cats battle snakes, but they think it's so cool that Dad's on YouTube.
Are you're a YouTube star too? Hey, get your 15 seconds of fame, girl. Yeah, so at least cats and snakes. That's great. But there's
you can follow a YouTube hole watching cats fight snakes. Cats beat the dog piss out of snakes, and it's fantastic. It's incredible. Their reaction times are like so much faster.
I enjoy the mongoose and the cobra. It's pretty fun.
Oh yeah.
The cobra's just like, leave me alone, and the mongoose is like, nah, not doing it.
And Billy, why we call him Brad Underwood Blunderwood? Like, seriously.
Come on, sounds like Geo, man.
Right, like what are we doing there, man?
Blunderwood. All right, so yeah.
I mean, I thought the Elite 8 run got rid of that crap. Maybe.
Yeah. Now, again, with having so much young talent, these guys are going to make mistakes. But like you mentioned, though, it's not going to fly with Underwood. He'll get that treadmill out if he needs it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, ask Io or Kofi about that treadmill. Okay, those guys hated that thing, and he only had to bring it out one or two. He only had to bring that thing out 1 or 2 times last year, which is a good thing. Okay. So now, Kev,
I do. I mean, I think basketball's so. I mean, it's far away, but it's. Hey, listen, we have a guy who's playing at that level right now, and it's pretty darn cool. I think we should just embrace that. There's going to be a ton of unknowns, and this team's going to be so much fun to watch. But I'm ready for camp to open, and I'm more excited about talking about football now. I mean, it's transitioned into full force for me.
Oh, it is.
But I think the basketball season was so phenomenal. It's just got us excited in the unknown. So.
Well, no, but I want to make sure I'm mentioning anything Illini that I can because
Sure.
I want to do my due diligence for the people who watch this because trust me, they watch other podcasts too, and
Yeah.
those people are always hammering on Illinois every week because that's where the eyes are, right? It's like it could be. I've like you go around and look at other podcasts, and I'm thinking, man, they sure talk about Illinois quite a bit to be a national.
I mean, the sleepers guys talk about Illinois, and they've even said it on their show because talking about Illinois gets eyeballs.
And this is an Illini podcast, so I'm going to at least do my diligence because if we don't, somebody else is. So I do. During this next month or two, yes, we are going to hit football majority, and I know we have a bunch of basketball fans on here. Anytime there's some hoop stuff, oh hell yeah, I'm going to talk about it. Like tonight, though, Kev, there are some 2025 new names popping up for hoops. That they're trying to work and schedule visits for. I'm going to finish off with towards the end. But yeah, so Mark says, I can't believe Illinois is being so underrated. No preseason top 25. They've added them into the early top 25 once they've discovered really how good Kasparas is and Will Riley. So, a lot of people have Illinois at like 17 or 18. It is way too early, though. Come on. It's July. You know what I'm saying? Like, give me late September, early October, and then I'll think about it. I just think like there's no way in hell you're going to know how great a ceiling of a team is or the talent level 100% is right now because hell, two guys might get injured by September. You never know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So back to just briefly with some of the football stuff. I think just looking at their schedule though, Kev, as we, get to camp starting tomorrow, and every week we can talk kind of about what we've been hearing. What is the big game? What's the big game for you that you're thinking could really help propel them?
It's funny. It's the same as last year. It's Kansas for me.
Okay.
Right. I haven't seen anything definitive, but I don't know that Jalen Daniels will be ready to play by then.
Is that what you've been hearing? You've been hearing more than me then. Okay.
I had nothing substantial, like nothing where I can it was like I caught it and I haven't been able to find out any more real information on that.
Okay.
He's a heck of a player. Their backup quarterback Beam, who did us in pretty good, is gone. So if he's unable to go, I think it definitely helps our chances. I also think getting him at home is huge. I think the Nebraska game's pretty big. I mean, you got to talk about these games where you're looking at them and they're somewhere between the 40 to 60% win ratios and say, hey, can we steal one? Can we steal one where we're sub 50? I think we're sub 50 probably on both those games. I think if you looked at the 5.5 Vegas prognostication, it would not include us. The unders would not include us beating either one of those teams. So I think Kansas, because it's early in the season, it could really offer a lot of momentum. Because you can
get that week 3 pummel of Central Michigan,
right? You can go 3-0,
3-0. Yeah.
You can start the season 3-0, and then all of a sudden
you only need to win 3 of your final 9 games to get to a bowl game,
right? And it's like I wrote in on 200 columns last year how big that Kansas game was because like we have a browbeaten fan base. Let's just be real. If Illinois can come out and start 3-0 and beat a good Kansas team, and just like Jason Ron said, a coach that we passed up Leipold for Bielema, that's kind of important to beat him. I think it just adds a renewed enthusiasm to the team and starts to create a home field advantage that we don't necessarily really have at Illinois. I mean,
yeah,
I was in Las Vegas at a work conference when we played Nebraska, but I know they had a lot of fans there that upped the attendance. I'd like to know what the split was, but we need to look at our early season and take advantage of it. So I think Kansas is huge. I think if we can beat Kansas, you start the season 3-0, you roll into a Friday night game in Nebraska.
He'll have nothing to lose because everybody will be picking Nebraska, especially if they can get by Colorado. Yeah.
Right, because if you lose to Kansas and then you got to go on the road to Nebraska, on the road to Penn State, you're most likely starting the season 2-4. Let's be real here. So now you got a 2-4 team that then gets Purdue at home. Okay, so our crowd doesn't show up. We lose a game we should have won. Now you're 2-5, and then you go Michigan. You got Michigan at home. Nobody shows up. Maybe they do because it's at Michigan and it's a rededication of Memorial Stadium / homecoming. And then you go at Oregon. And the next thing you know, you could be 2-7, and it's just like, well, there's the season.
I think the Oregon game's the only one that I wouldn't think will be within 10 points of.
That's the game I really think I'm with you. That's the game. It's just gonna be really tough. So
yeah. I do think Illinois can split one of Michigan, Penn State. And I'm actually the Michigan one makes a lot of sense to me. I think we're due to take them out, and I'm going to be really intrigued to watch how they play Texas in week 2 at home. And then they get USC.
Yeah, they lost a lot, and they're changing the coaching staff, and
they get USC in week 4 at home. So let's see how they do in those first 4. You're going to know if they're legit or not. That's the bottom line.
And plus, I'll be in attendance for the Michigan game, so you never know. Like, knock on wood.
And we're going to keep promoting it every week. We are having a Keepin an Orange and Blue tailgate. There will be some guests appearances. I promise you, there will be some guests, some special guests. And
Jason Ron in attendance.
Yep, Jason Ron, everybody, and Colton.
That's the draw right there.
Jay Bagan, I think Jay Began is his name. Yeah, we thought it was Bagan. It's Began. He told me. So Jay Began will be there, but no, just they're Illini related. Probably former player, current player, recruit, possibly. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, it'll be a good time. So October 19th against Michigan should be, and you know what? Against Penn State too. Yep. Illinois not going to have anything to lose that game. Like no one's going.
But it changes the whole fundamentals of the season if they can start off 3-0 because
it does.
It changes the attendance for the Purdue game. It changes their confidence going to Nebraska. It changes everything if they can, because they can win that Nebraska game. But I'm telling you, playing Friday night under the lights at their place is not ideal, but they did it to us last year. So
yeah, and then you remember too, they're probably going to be starting a true freshman. I'm just telling you,
he's really good though.
Yeah, he is really good. But you know what happens when you get pressure on a really good young quarterback?
Yeah. Well, that leads to me, Ryan, and I've been thinking about writing an article for the website, but there's like 5 clear things that I really want to see come out of this camp. 5 things that I'm interested to see. And number one,
ruin them all on the show.
I can talk very briefly about it. Number one is Luke Altmaier. Does Luke Altmaier really take the reins of this team? He is immensely talented. He's the most talented quarterback on the staff. He was the most talented quarterback last year. He had some really good moments and he had some iffy moments. I think his interceptions are so widely skewed because of the 4 he threw against Penn State. And then that leads into the next one. Like what not number 2, but number 3 would be what's going to happen with the offensive line? Like how does that solidify? How does that gel? I'm very interested in that. I'm very interested in the defensive line. Who steps up there? That's probably number 2 for me. I'm interested to see, do we have competition at the punter position? Like, does Declan Dooley push Hugh Robertson this year? Because Hugh Robertson's had some really good moments. He's had some bad moments. So there's a lot of really intriguing things coming out of this camp. And then last and not the least, do we have a playmaker in the defensive secondary that we weren't aware of? Because we had a lot of transfers, a lot of it's not just the defensive secondary. Do any of these other transfers outside of the offense and defensive lines, are they immediate impact guys, maybe outside of Brooks? Because I think we all expect Brooks to be an immediate impact guy. So that it's really interesting coming out. There's a lot of what's going to happen here on this team. And Mo said it too. The 2 deep of the DL and O line are going to be huge. I actually am more confident in the 2 deep on the O line than I've been in a long time. From the perspective of, like, I think the past couple of years, like it's been 6 or 7 guys. I think this year we're gonna look at 8 or 9, and that's a nice place to be. Yep,
100%. And you will be getting a Kevin Ducey article. I know you guys have been waiting about almost a year for that, but you know all
holding with bated breath.
Yeah,
everybody was waiting for Kevin's article.
After his article, you know how many times Kevin told me, he's like, I'm going to write an article. I was just
Man,
like, dude, he does 800 things, man. I don't
well,
expect an article, but the
it
funny
won't be as long as Roberts at Illini Board's preseason thing.
come on, you got to give us 10,000 words, dude. You got to go. And then you have to mention where you're eating at and what you're eating when you're writing and typing.
And what I'm listening to.
And what you're listening to and what your beverage of choice is. So unless that's the way you have to start it though, or it doesn't count.
Fair enough.
All right. So the one given is since they brought in Brooks is that we are going back to more man coverage.
And I think that fits with Aaron Henry's style.
Yeah. And last year, I think, and if you guys watched, Sabur talked about it, you guys. He said the reason why they did more zone last year and they couldn't leave it is because they didn't really have the guys to cover in man-to-man. Like, they didn't have dudes who could cover man-to-man. So they wanted more of a zone scheme to protect some guys. But a good quarterback's going to always find the hole in those zones, you know? So, and that's what happened. But health is a key. Health is key here. So let's hope that they can stay healthy. And, which apparently it's just Marugan right now. So one other thing he mentioned, Bielema, that I want to discuss is there's a big man. I'm telling you, Dennis Briggs from Florida State is a large human being. he's a mammoth human being. He was a dude who was in Florida State's 2-deep rotation last year.
The past 2 years, yeah.
For the past 2 years of that defensive line full of just animals. And I'm telling you, he's going to play a lot at Illinois this year. He's going to be a difference maker, I think. He's going to be a breath of fresh air to have come fill in that, or I don't think he's going to be a dude that's going to, no one's going to fill Newton's shoes. And, and even the law firm are going to be tough to come right in. But he's going to make that transition. Like, it's going to be a nice Band-Aid, I think, for this year. It's
a thing. Like, we could talk about the law firm. I mean, if Keith Randolph was here, he would tell you, dude, that guy was about 60% of himself last year.
Yeah. So, he played with a nasty bone bruise for a good chunk of the year. I don't know if anybody's ever had one or not, but not fun. YouTube famous part deuce. I'm gonna get my Saint Bernard in here in a second.
Don't take any kisses from that slobbery guy.
Oh no, he will. If he stays healthy, Mo is the key for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
So looking forward to that article. You think you'll have it by next weekend, Kev?
Yeah, for sure. Hey, dude, you were talking about the defensive backs, dude. The guy you weren't talking about that I've heard really good reviews about is Jaheim Clark. It's another guy. Like, I mean, there's so much more depth in that defensive backfield that I think last season you had to live with mistakes. I don't think that Aaron Henry or this team have to live with mistakes on that side of the ball this year. So,
and I think that you're going to see guys playing with a whole lot more nasty to them, a whole lot more focus of dependable. I think that's what Brett says, right? Tough, dependable, all that good stuff. The coach speak. I don't think guys were that last year.
Yeah.
So he's definitely making sure, and I think he knows the seriousness of it too, as I mentioned last week. Like, I'm not telling you it's going to be a hot seat if they don't make a bowl next year, especially if it's like a similar thing where it's 5-7. Let's say they just had to bat some. Let's say they have injuries, they lose a heartbreaker at the end of the year, blah blah blah. But no one wants to go into their 5th season saying I've made one bowl game. Okay, so
the seat will be very hot next year if they don't make a bowl game.
Yeah, but people are like saying, "Oh, it's going to be done." Blah blah. No, it's going to be. He'll have to get to a bowl next year. Yeah, he'll have to. So
I mean, he can go 3-9 this year, and I don't think he's going to get fired.
Yeah, but no one wants that. That's the point. You want to build off this. You got to. The recruiting is good enough you should be able to get to bowl games every year. Okay.
Well, and the money's flowing in. Like the Big Ten generates more revenue than any other conference, and it's a pretty significant gap between the Big Ten and the SEC, which is kind of shocking. Furthermore, the NIL dollars that are available for Illinois it can be astronomical. I mean, you're talking about a top 30, 40. You're talking about a top 50 university on U.S. News World Report consistently. And that school also happens to be a top 10 in enrollment. At one point in time, it had the second largest alumni association behind Michigan. That date is about 10 years old. I haven't looked that up recently. Like there's something there if you can get this fan base to rally that Illinois, you could eventually waken the sleeping giant with this opportunity, but you got to get some results. You got to perform on the field. So,
yep, definitely. Now, just back to some switching gears a little bit with 2025 for Illinois hoops, looking to lock in some official visits here soon. Orlando Antigua. What'd you say?
Michael Brown, is that right?
Yep, Michael Brown is one of them. And Amari Evans is another.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got, and Nicholas Carmania is a top 100 kid from California. We've talked about. They're in with some very good players, some really talented kids, and the Boozer brothers, as we mentioned last week. And so they're working hard to get those established. And I'm telling you that's why I'm working to get the info as soon as in the next week or two, because they're going to have somebody locked in for the Kansas night game. I'm just telling you, that's what they want. They want that all-day atmosphere where you can see the people tailgating. You know, they can get them around the atmosphere of the program when sports are going on, and that's going to be a night game. They want them involved in that. It's going to be on national television. That's just a primetime perfect one. So, and remember, Illinois has 3 straight home games, so you know they'll be hosting some other people, probably on the 14th against Central Michigan. So there's a couple of kids that are going to be going into those visits. I think it'd be great if it could be the Michigan game on the 19th. But then you're getting closer to hoop season and practices and all that stuff. So I know usually they try to get as many as they can in before October. And then some new names, some other names popping up, new names. I think Chris Cernak as well as one who Illinois has been on. They offered Chris Cernak around the same time that they offered Will Riley. So I know Orlando Antigua is really excited about him. And I think they've got a kid from like the Bronx or New York area.
We're reaching Orlando Antigua, NIL. Illinois' recent success is we are reaching kids. We're getting looks from kids that we just haven't had before in a long. I mean, Michael Brown's that number 8 overall recruit point guard from Georgia. I mean, like it's like the level of guys that we're getting that are interested in Illinois it's kind of insane right now.
Yeah, it is. And people are like thinking, oh, is he the Jeremiah Fears replacement? And I'm like, I don't necessarily would say he's a replacement, but he's definitely a guy that they like. And you can't just sit back and say, oh, well, they're just going to get Jeremiah to come back. So you got to cover your tracks and you got to put your best foot forward. And, the staff has shown that they can deliver. So those are who we're looking at right now. Brandon Lee is another one who I've mentioned. Orlando Antigua really likes Brandon Lee, 6'4" from the Patrick School, same school that Georgie Bashashvili came from.
Right.
He goes to New York Rens and the Nike YBL circuit. He also played for Team Puerto Rico, and he played at the FIBA U18 AmeriCup in Buenos Aires, where Orlando Antigua was at watching Merez and them. So just remember, what was funny is like you assume, oh, he's just there to watch the Illini players. Nah, he was watching. He's there. He's looking at other guys too. So Brandon Lee's another one. So I think we covered a good chunk of the names. Those are names you guys should all be watching for.
I mean, you're talking about Chris Cernak. That's a top 15 player. I mean, like it's insane. Some of these guys that we're getting looks from, man.
It is true.
Kenny's interest in Illinois dead. I mean, I know at one point in time he was pretty interested. So I mean, it's just one
So,
of those things.
Kev,
We're just doing a very high level. So
anything? What's your final thought for tonight?
one thing I'm really excited to look forward to this week, and it starts, I believe, on Thursday, is I'm going to talk golf. Golf at the Olympics, and Illinois is going to have Thomas Dietrich and Adrian Dumont de Chasse are the two golfers that are going to represent Belgium this week. Excited for that. ADDC played this weekend at the 3M Open up in Minnesota and did not do well. Nick Hardy had top 50 finish, so happy for Nick there. But it'll be interesting. I mean, obviously, I'm going to be pro USA and see what our guys can do there. But I actually really love that there's golf in the Olympics now. I'm really looking forward to. I think they're going to move it to a team event in 2028, possibly co-ed, which would be kind of fun to see how they can mix in that dynamic, maybe make it a better TV watch. And one other thing that, we started talking about the 25 recruits, keep an eye on. And I'm not the one to necessarily stand up and champion women's basketball. This is not really my thing. I'm not trying to be a jerk here. I love women's softball. I love volleyball. Basketball kind of takes the third rung on that. But Illinois and what Shauna Green is doing right now and what might happen in this 2025 recruiting class could be amazing. And I think there's Divine Barrage, girl from Iowa, top 5 player in the country. I think it's Destiny Jackson, a Chicago point guard. Both of them, she's 24th in the country. We just made the final list for a top 60, 6'5" center. There's a chance that Illinois nabs an unreal recruiting class in 2025. And the fact that these girls are not committed at this point in time, I think bodes well for Illinois, because I think this team might be the best women's basketball team at Illinois in my lifetime. And that'll be a lot of fun. I think we're going to be preseason top 25 of what they did in the postseason. Basically, women winning what is the male version of NIT. I forgot what the name of that tournament was.
Everybody back. Yep.
Everybody back. It's just exciting for what they're going to do, because and especially because women's basketball has grown so much so rapidly recently. Obviously, Caitlin Clark, and then she's got her adversary, her villain or hero on the other side, depending on which way you look at it. And Angel Reese is really driven that game. I think it'd be really awesome if Illinois could find its way into that conversation from a national media perspective, because I pull for all things orange and blue. So excited about that. 100%,
I agree with you. I'm going to get on the opening ceremony of the Olympics. Just kidding. I'm staying away from that on here.
I'm game. I'm game.
No. Trust me, Ryan has his own opinions on it. And if you're my friend on Facebook, you probably already know it. So, USA hung on, right, to beat Serbia today?
Yeah, Kevin Durant and LeBron James, dude, we're cooking. Actually, the oldest, I think I saw today. Oh, they're a big boy. I think the oldest U.S. Olympian basketball player to win a gold medal is Larry Bird at 35.
Uh-huh.
And I think Curry's 35, Kevin Durant's 35.
LeBron's 39.
Yeah. LeBron and KD were amazing today. It was fun.
LeBron's an old head like you, man. He's almost 40.
Hey, dude, I told you, like I used to hate on him. Now I just appreciate his greatness. And so.
Yep. So my final thought is hopefully you guys have all got to check out. Maybe Kev, you will. I don't know what you're laughing at.
Mo. I'm laughing at Mo. Yes.
I got to see. What did Mo say here? Let me see. Here.
Don't repeat it.
Oh, Lord. Yeah. So, yeah. And the people on who are listening to this, I'm definitely not telling you. So my final thought is hopefully you guys all were able to watch and tune in each week, each Wednesday night. We're doing a Mike Farrell Sports. We do a podcast of college football. It'll just be a football podcast. Once the college football winds down, we're going to talk, we'll talk some NFL draft. We'll talk, combine, but we're focusing on college football right now. It's called Outside the Gridiron. I'm I'm hosting the show now, but I will be on it every week. Eventually, you know, we might get a host. We'll see how that works. It could be in the works, but for right now, I'm hosting it with we have 3 other journalists, national columnists. We come on. We will have special guests too from times. It's not always going to be just Mike Farrell Sports, writers. It's basically if let's say Farrell can get Josh Pate on, or he can get Paul Feinbaum on, Farrell's got a lot of good people he knows and friends within the college football community. So, hell, James Franklin gave him a shout out at Big Ten Media Day because Kyle Golick, who does the show with me, actually asked Franklin a question and said, Mike Farrell Sports. And James Franklin was like, hey, tell Mike I said what's up. So that name goes a lot of places. He knows a lot of people. So every Wednesday we do the show. So tune in this Wednesday night. We'll have the second live stream episode. It's on Mike Farrell's Facebook. If you guys follow him on there, it'll also be on his X account. Plus, we have a YouTube channel for Outside the Gridiron. And with that said, my next article will be Big Ten Coaches Edition, Put Up or Shut Up. And that will be tomorrow. So Brett Bielema might just be in there. So
there you go.
That's my next article. Check it out, MikeFarrellSports.com. I'm always going to post whatever I write and all that good stuff. So with that said, Kev, swap me out.
ILL.